Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of I Trek. Big shout out to everybody that is just tapped in. Major shout out to everybody in the chat. We're definitely on that Saturday flow. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy videos from all around the internet and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. Before we jump into any of these videos, do me the biggest favor and hit that like button for me, hit that hype button, and subscribe. If you're not a part of the I Trek fam, let's jump straight into it. Now don't cap, you would have had that same reaction had you been that close to being unalived.
This lady is a shapeshifter, look at that. Now shapeshifters are all over this world and they disguise themselves as regular humans. Like, look at this. There's a lot of mysteries in this world we do not understand.
I got some juicy info at the end of this video, so I hope you hang out. Petrified giant woman. We just found this one just a few minutes ago. Check this out right behind me, up here on the hill. You can clearly see the profile of a face up there. You'll start at her neckline right there. Then you see her chin. You can even see her lips, her nose, her eye, which I can even see with my eyes. I don't have to even have a camera to see that. You can see her hair up there on top. And she looks like she has a companion there with her closer to us right there. Maybe a child or a man or something, but definitely another petrified giant up there. Here's y'all's little nugget for the day. We're going to talk about Lilith. I didn't learn about Lilith till just a couple years ago, and it just absolutely stunned me. But Lilith was Adam's first wife. And I know you're like, what? Go look it up. The information is there. She did not want to conform to what Adam and God wanted her to do. So she kind of just went and did her own thing. And that's when God went ahead and took a piece of Adam and knew if he made a woman from Adam, that she might be more prone to be, want to stay with him. So Lilith went out into the world is what I understand, and she became Lucifer's wife. This is all crazy information that I learned myself, and I've read so much up on this stuff, and it's just information that's been hidden because if you don't know, they like to take power away from women. Definitely throughout the Bible, over and over. But come out to Colorado. We're a Petrified Giants touring company. We got the coolest things to show you. Licensed and insured, veteran-owned and operated. Please go check out our website, petrifiedgiants.com, and check out the t-shirts. We're going to order a press and go ahead and get
Captured on a rural property in western Oregon, the image shows a group of young girls standing by a creek. But with one chilling twist, a ghostly-looking girl appears in the photo, who was supposedly never there. Only a few people were present that day. Herself, her friend, the mother of two of the girls in the shot, and her 7-year-old son, who declined to be in the picture.
各位心情好吧？生活不易，机器人卖艺，几天没有充电。
1400s to the 1800s, all pirate maps had areas on those maps where they said mermaid exists, giant octopus exists, giant squid exists, on all those maps. Now look, all right. Now this video, at your own risk. I went to Mombasa, Kenya. In Mombasa, I talked to the fishermen. I asked them about mermaids. They say mermaids exist, but we can't tell people about that here because we won't get any tourist money. This video was filmed 18 years ago by a guy who I know who owns a marina. He said people kept complaining that boats were getting tipped, they're getting holes cut in their fishing nets, people having sightings, and he camped out underwater with 2 oxygen tanks with a wet can.
So CERN is set to close down on June 29th, 2026. Okay.
Again.
It'll be shut down for 4 years until June of 2030. So that's fun, you know, especially given that they're building a new one, which is like 10 times the size of the current one, something like that.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Where?
I'll show you. We'll pull it up in a second. So the last time it shut down was between 2018 and 2022.
That was a fun time for us all, wasn't it?
Listen, I didn't think that there was any like unrest around the world at all, right? There's zero doubt that between now and 2030, the entire world will be radically changed. That's for absolute sure.
I have goosebumps.
And this is all happening as AI emerges as this thing that is going to literally completely change the whole world. You got to ask yourself, doesn't it feel like that all kind of came out of nowhere? You know what I mean? You're like, I mean, I know they've been talking about AI, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It
just like popped up one day and it's like, oh, ChatGPT's here.
And,
here you go.
And here's where things get strange. People have been fine. And what about this one? Have you heard about the weird creature that was found in a guy's swimming pool just 2 days ago? No one could seem to explain what it is.
Oh.
Have you ever seen anything like that before? In someone's swimming pool?
Cuidado do bicho lá, filho. Cuidado, hein? Não, ele vai pegar sua bola.
So my first thought when I saw this was maybe this is like some sort of toy, right? Because you could clearly see a red-looking octopus right there on the top, but it doesn't look like it's moving that much. And then the bottom of it looks like a sea slug or something. And this thing is clearly moving from left to right across a step in the swimming pool, so I don't know what this is.
Sai daí, sai daí, sai daí. A hora que ele morder essa bola, você vai ver. Sai daí, sai daí. Saia daí.
Now that first creature looked like it came out of that movie Terminator. The second creature looked like it came out of somebody's bad dream.
This is some of the eeriest cryptid footage you've seen in a while. It was just highlighted on June 11th, 2026. The caption reads, "The landowner was advised to set up cameras around his property, especially around the old buildings like the butler's quarters." And that's where the action was. Take a look. The back porch camera set up on the old building on the owner's remote land catches something unexpected. Something that looks like the rake. It has glowing eyes, pale skin, a small head, and a humanoid frame. It's crouched down on all fours and keeps peeking out and quickly hiding back behind the building. It does this a couple of times until it reveals itself the most on the last peek. We see its arm and shoulder move, showing us it's not just an animal. Some skeptics tried to say it was just a raccoon or something, but we can see it's human-shaped here. Also, its skin is pale and whitish, and its head is very small. So it's said that the landowner was experiencing strange happenings all over his remote acres, and that's exactly why he was advised to set up cameras around the vast land. A decision that did help him figure out what was going on, but a decision he would likely regret. A decision that made him dive headfirst into a world he didn't want to explore. Do you sell your property and move, or do you try to stay and deal with it? Do you try to hunt the creatures and scare them off? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see how he handles this one.
That doesn't look like any kind of animal I've ever seen. Me personally, I'm selling that property and getting up out of there. Let me know what you would do down in the comments.
A group of men were enjoying a leisurely afternoon by the shores of Mexico when they suddenly noticed a strange creature in the water. The creature was partially submerged and its body was partly visible on the surface of the water. Upon closer inspection, the men noticed that the creature had a unique appearance which made it stand out from any other creature they'd seen before. The creature had a smooth body and it was around 2 feet long. Its head resembled that of a seal with a pointed snout and large black eyes. The body, however, was much flatter than that of a seal, and it had a distinct pattern of black on its back. The men were unsure what type of creature they had encountered, and they debated among themselves. Some of them believed it could be a sea turtle, while others were convinced that it was a leopard seal. They continued to watch the creature as it made its way through the water, trying to catch a glimpse of any other distinguishing features. What do you think this creature could be?
It's not going to replace people necessarily. It's going to be a tool for engineers to use.
No.
Really valuable.
I know there's a lot of concern that many people have, including many smart people, that AI is going to make humans redundant and so on. I totally disagree with this point of view. And I think, in fact, AI is going to create a labor shortage because it's going to make it possible for people to identify more problems. We have an endless set of things to invent. And we are only limited. Today, we are limited not by our imaginations, but by what we can actually do. I promise you, every single person in this audience has had an idea for a new business or a new product or a new device that they wish they could manufacture, and that idea stayed in your head and went nowhere. And the reason it stayed in your head and went nowhere is because it's too hard to do and it wasn't worth it. And if we can accelerate the dream build loop, all of the ideas will then become possible. And then we end up being limited not by our capabilities, but by our imaginations.
Now, he makes a great point. Most major media outlets only talk about the jobs that will be replaced by AI. But what about all the jobs that can be created?
Animals you shouldn't touch, even though you might want to. Number 1, slow loris. It looks harmless with its big eyes and slow movements, but this tiny creature is actually venomous. It licks venom from a gland near its elbow, then bites if you get too close. Number 2, hooded pitahui. At first glance, this looks like a normal bird, but it is actually one of the only poisonous birds on Earth. From its skin to its feathers, almost every part of its body contains poison, and it carries the same toxin found in golden dart frog, the same frog with enough poison to kill a full-grown elephant. Number 3, panda. It looks like a living teddy bear and almost impossible not to hug, but pandas are still powerful bears with crushing bite force, and like any bear, if it feels threatened, it can turn aggressive instantly.
So I opened this Band-Aid. I think it's radioactive. Just look, it was like turning colors. You see that? What the?
What if extroverts are energy vampires and that's why they feel energized by spending time with people, but introverts feel depleted because the extroverts have harvested their energy? I mean, it makes sense, right?
Here at Casey's in Lincoln, Illinois, check out these clouds. crazy clouds out here in Lincoln. Crazy clouds out here in Lincoln. Look at this.
This video is the insane reason why you should never trust what you see with your eyes. You think that you're looking at a man in a room with a red ball, but I promise you that you're not. For example, that chair is not even there, but you thought it was because your eyes will trick you. For example, you thought that cup was regular size, but it turns out it was actually gigantic. You probably even thought that that picture was actually there. Always remember that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
I build data centers, I own data centers, I built the first private data center in the state of Iowa, and everything that Google is telling you is BS. I have a data center right now that's running in Hiawatha, and I have been there 14 years and have never used 1 gallon of water. What Google isn't telling you is they don't want to use the technology because it costs more. They're going to burn through the water, and when it's done, and they don't care.
It's fast. We're gonna watch it back. You see the dude run away? That's what you should do when you see a Bigfoot. We're gonna put it up. There it is, standing up. Looks like its back is facing us. Right there. See that right dead in the center of the screen? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna replay it again. Not gonna do it with the sound this time. Here it goes. Stands up. I don't like it.
I just needed some air. Wait. Is that Jesus?
Maybe it's just me, but it kind of resembles Fidel Castro.
Y'all gotta learn to leave it alone. This lady saw what looked like a kid standing in her yard on her security cameras. So she Scooby-Dooed it outside to go see if she could find anything. She goes out there, there's nothing out there. You can see her panning her phone around with her flashlight on. Nothing. She walks back to the house, and then the thing that she saw on her cameras comes back. And then it does this. Just watch. Turns into a ball of light, and then her camera just shuts off. Now, I zoomed in on this thing. It looks like a little kid. And you can see it like moving around. But then, like I said, it turns into light and shuts off her security cameras. I'm not sure what this is. I've seen people saying that it was an angel because it was a kid. Others were saying that it was some sort of light being. My biggest fear would be that this thing would follow me in my house. I would like bring it into my house. Whatever the hell it is. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? And what would you do if you saw this on your security cameras?
The moon is too big to be here. It's just too big. We've never found another system in our solar system or any other that has this giant moon right next to us like this. This is totally unique. We haven't found a moon that has such a perfect orbit like this.
No shit, I didn't realize that.
You know, a lot of people will point to the fact that the moon during the eclipse is like the perfect size to block out the sun because it's like a 400-to-1 ratio. The crust is different, older, and much thicker, and fewer impacts are on the far side that are on the near side. When you think it would be the opposite because that should be grabbing things as they come in, but instead there's not as many impacts on that side. During one of the Apollo missions, as a test, a seismic test, they crashed one of the rockets into the moon to see, you know, what was going on there. And the phrase is, the moon rang like a bell for over an hour. So if you set off like seismic charges here to measure sound waves that go through the Earth, as they go through the Earth, they slow down. As they go through all this dense matter and then through the mantle and the core, like it just slows down. The moon, they don't do that. The sound waves sped up and started to bounce all around in there and started to like reverberate. It would make a lot more sense that the moon wasn't here than the fact that it is.
Guys, all I can keep saying is this place makes absolutely no sense. We're almost to the lion monolith, but look what I spot down below. We're getting closer. But there's so much that makes zero sense. Like all those cliff faces are completely cut off. This one's cut off. That one's cut off. That whole top of the mountain was sheared off, except to block. There's another altar there. I guarantee you these were altars. Either they had machines to cut stone, robots, or that's all they did the second they were born. That's all anyone did. I've been all over the world, and this is the most confusing place ever. Like even this little ledge was all carved out, and then there's a square. Like make it make sense. What's the purpose of that? And then a random stairway. Like what the heck?
What's going on here? Ships from another world arrive on our planet.
Imagine being alone in the middle of the ocean and realizing something is huge moving beneath you. A man was kayaking through a fog with dark shapes started appearing around his kayak. At first, he thought they were whales, but the closer they got, the stranger they looked. Their skin was pale and filled with scars, almost like ancient, and they weren't scared of him at all. They just kept circling this kayak, slowly rising in and out of the water, then disappearing back into the fog. One came so close, he could see his eyes before it vanished underwater. People online think they could have been deep sea creatures they were never supposed to be seen. He still doesn't know what exactly he saw that night, but he said one thing that still haunts him. They were watching him. If you were trapped out there, surrounded by these things, would you stay or would you go?
It's gonna be the craziest thing you're ever gonna see, ever. Okay. Look at the size of that thing! Holy moly! Holy, I accidentally broke it. Holy shit!
Billionaire who's reversing his age just traveled to a remote island to undergo a procedure he hopes will make him live forever. 46-year-old Brian Johnson has been fixated on reversing his biological age for years and spends around $2 million a year to do so. He's done everything from taking blood and plasma infusions directly from his teenage son to shock therapy on his downstairs member. But now he's revealed he just traveled to a remote island to undergo an extreme medical procedure that's not FDA approved in the US. He's now officially officially a genetically enhanced human because he just edited his DNA with this new gene therapy procedure. When this gene therapy was conducted on mice, they lived 30% longer, and Brian believes it will work on him too. Right now, Brian says every 12 months that pass, he only ages 7.6 months, and he's turned back his clock 5 years since starting his reverse aging process. Brian believes this procedure he just underwent could change the future of humanity and allow humans to go above the 120-year-old ceiling we currently have. His DNA with this new gene therapy procedure. When this gene therapy was conducted on mice, they lived 30% longer, and Brian...
I can't make this up. This dude has a window unit, an actual window unit in his car. What?
It took 13 missions to get the only color photographs of the surface of Venus. They were taken by this lander that was only supposed to last 30 minutes, but somehow lasted 2 hours, which is incredible because Venus is really not a good time. It's basically hell. There are clouds of sulfuric acid, surface pressures 93 times that of Earth, temperatures hot enough to melt lead. The average moonlander from that time would be crushed in an instant. So Soviet engineers tinkered for 30 years, sending probes that failed over and over again, starting with 2 flyby missions. The first never made it out of Earth's orbit. The second overheated somewhere along the way. Mission 3 crashed into the planet. Missions 4, 5, 6 successfully sampled the atmosphere but then got crushed like soda cans before reaching the ground. Mission 7's parachute tore and then it smashed into the planet, but it managed to send back the first data from the surface, showing us that Venus, not a great vacation spot. Mission 8 didn't crash and confirmed that data, and then they got even craftier. So they put all of the electronics in an airtight insulated container sealed with titanium, which is one of the very few metals that wouldn't get crushed or warped on the surface immediately. They even pre-cooled the inside to give it a little bit more time before overheating, and they set up cameras behind windows made of solid quartz, which is heat and pressure resistant up to a point, but still transparent enough to see through, and it worked. Missions 9 and 10 sent back the first ever black and white photographs of the surface, so then they did it again, but this time the lens cap didn't pop off, so they made one final adjustment and set 2 more missions, and we finally got the first ever color photographs of Venus and sound. But now there's a plan to go back to see it. Follow along.
Do you remember that video where someone discovered a special piece of glass that, when held up to your eyes, allowed them to see UFOs hovering in random locations? Well, we have new material from that exact person. Take a look at this. This time around, he decided to cut the glass into multiple pieces and explore different locations. And once again, he captured something extraordinary, a diamond-shaped UFO hovering above what appears to be a building. He may have now documented multiple objects across multiple locations, though he has yet to share the full findings. It looks unbelievable, yet a lot of people believe something like this is entirely possible. Do you think we're witnessing the real thing, or is this an elaborate hoax?
Facts about Earth that do not seem real. In this area of Honduras called Lloro, it rains fish every single time rain comes through. I shit you not. And spoilers, scientists have not been able to figure out why this happens to this one place on Earth. After every single thunderstorm or rainstorm between May and June of every year, residents will come out to walk on the streets or drive, and this is what they see. Lloro is a beautiful landscape that has tons of Mayan relics and culture and ruins around it, but there's something important to note here, is that the fish that they find in this city are freshwater, despite it being 45 miles away from the Caribbean Sea. And the local tradition says that this is a case of divine intervention, because it started in 1856 when this missionary named Manuel de Jesus Subirana visited Lloro and prayed to Jesus that he would have food to give to the poor. And also written accounts from him and other historians corroborate this phenomenon happening since then. A couple of theories that scientists do have is that maybe these fish are being carried over by water spouts during these big storms. But again, these fish are freshwater, and there isn't an abundance of lakes near this area, and they're not coming from the ocean. Another theory they have is that maybe these fish live in underground caves or just big old holes in the ground, and then every thunderstorm it floods them out and they end up there. But no scientist in resident has ever seen this happen in front of their eyes. This phenomenon is so well known in this area that since 1998, the citizens of Euro have a festival to celebrate it called Festival de la Lluvia de Peces, which is Rain of Fish Festival. Residents will gather adorning hats and costumes of their culture and celebrate their little town in Honduras for the phenomenon that apparently is a religious phenomenon.
Now, I haven't seen anybody tap in from Euro, but I have seen a few tap in from Honduras, so definitely let me know if that's a thing or not.
Bill Gates is funding a new meat company that uses lab-created cells that never stop dividing. Kinda sounds like cancer. Well, because it is. Now, this is literally an infinite, eternal, biological creature of an engine that endlessly spits out animal tissue without needing a new creature. Where are we as humanity? Like, get this man out of the health sector. First of all, it actually holds the same biological DNA of aggressive cancers and tumors, and they're marketing it to us as regular meat. You know, can we do something? Can't please. I have to buy cows now. Where am I going to buy cows? At least it's not crickets yet, but I know he's going to get us into crickets. This is my driver. You guys, stop getting oh, but it has protein in it. That thing is not natural. That's not natural. We do not need to create an amoeba of meat, mystery meat. You know, I just can't imagine what that actually looks like.
Dude, where's my car?
So details about Peter Thiel's secret society has been revealed. So the Dialogue Society is a private, invitation-only network co-founded in 2006 by Palantir Chairman Thiel. You know, and they hold secret meetings all over the world that are completely off the record, where they obviously talk about technology and finance and how to control our world and building cults, you know, everything. You know, how to control society, just normal everyday stuff. You know, a meeting of the puppeteers of our society. But a directory in the website's code was revealed by a Swiss hacker. The next retreat that they're going to have is actually in Dublin, Ireland, and it's going to have people from all over politics, tech, celebrities, you know, multiple people from the Trump administration, NATO's top U.S. commander. But, you know, some of the very normal things to talk about during the conference that's happening this year is navigating World War III, battlefield technology, money, does it buy happiness, bring back nuclear, build a cult, which is probably the best one that's going to happen this year in my eyes. Because, of course, you want all kinds of new information on how to build cults in today's age. And that last one is actually going to be moderated by the founder of the Christian networking site Pray.com. But you should get online and look at the members that were exposed in this not-so-secret society now.
The government uses schizophrenia in order to discredit you and in order to infringe themselves in your life because they could get in your pockets. You're a millionaire? Well, you got a caregiver now. You're schizophrenic.
Right, that's crazy.
Yo, that's how they do it.
I'm glad you went there, right? But I want to... Schizophrenia is one thing. If you suffer from that, know that you don't got nothing. But I want to talk about
one more thing I want to add to. Over 5,000, and I put this out years ago. Over 5,000 psychologists already said schizophrenia don't exist. The government made it up.
It don't exist.
Exactly. Right.
Go ahead and clear your glasses and be observant. Look at the image that you're looking at now. A group of Arabic men were driving across the desert, and this thing caught their attention. They took a video far away because they didn't want to get close to it since they didn't know what it was. And by looking at it, it's hard to tell what it is. Initially, I thought it was a bird, but what is a bird doing in the desert? Then I thought it was probably a snake from afar, but it doesn't make sense. Can anyone decipher what this really is? Is it a bird of some sort? I don't know. Some people were saying that it was probably a spirit, a desert spirit, or a jinn. I don't know, but there you go, and let me know what you think it is.
This ancient find from Mexico completely blows the doors off of what we know and what we believe. Seeing certain things about this and these pieces that came from this dig, the chips on the forehead, massive 300-pound box, 250-pound tablet with what appears to be the Sophia, something depicted in the Gnostic coins in the 2nd century. It was just a nice day. I had no idea what was going to happen. Seeing all this stuff come out of the ground, the guys worked through the night. It was so exciting, piece after piece, thing after thing that just completely defied everything that we thought we knew. Seeing the chip in the forehead here really started getting me thinking. Seeing the depictions that are on these pieces, the multiple winged seraphim angels, the beings, what looked like deities, demigods, surrounding this chip in the forehead of what looks to be like a human. It's really quite interesting. We see some other symbology here, like this bull with wings and the 7 serpents. The number 7 seems to come up so very often with these pieces and this history. I'm not sure who this being is inside the box, but it's interesting. The quality and the detail of the relief and the things that are put onto this is one of the most detailed items that I have. It's something that is completely irreplaceable. Seeing the moon here with everything around it, the types of star maps and or portals, it's hard to even fathom the depths in which this goes. History books only scratch the surface, it seems. Till next time.
What if I told you in the late 90s, a small band called I in the World Trade Center had an album come out in 2001 before the September 11th attacks, and just coincidentally, the 11th song on the album is called September? You telling me that's a coincidence? And then they have other weird tracks like Sound So Crazy, then right after that song, it's Look Around You. And I'm just like, either this is the biggest fucking coincidence, or there's more to this. What do you think?
Watch this.
The world is flat.
The world is flat.
Confirmed.
Completely flat. Completely flat.
And ice wall, what's beyond the ice wall?
You get to that and you go down and then gravity works in a different direction. So when it rains, it doesn't fall on the floor, it falls
Is there another world beyond the ice wall? Wow.
Becoming a pilot takes years of training and a lot of money. Not someone who throws their career away for a joke, yet he said it anyway. And when others went looking, they found more pilots saying the exact same thing, independently. Admiral Byrd flew over Antarctica, documented it officially, and wrote about landmass that appears on no map. His diary still exists. The governments never explained it. They just moved on. If you enjoy creepy videos, follow, or we may never see each other again.
How would you like to have lived in Roman times and use the toilets like this? Cheek to cheek, there's a water channel running in front where you would dip a communal stick that had a sponge at the end, wipe yourself. That was what this hole sort of in the bottom is for, to facilitate the wiping. And then you would be on your merry way, put that stick back in the vinegar and go on. This is in Ephesus, some of the best preserved ancient toilets you'll see.
Hey, we have come such a long way. I couldn't imagine today's society using those type of toilets. Just wouldn't happen.
Y'all see what happened to Taraji? There's no way that this is the same person at all. Zero chance that this is the same individual. And there she is with all of her friends and stuff celebrating her new look, right? But what is really going on here? And why are all of these celebrities looking different? Because I'm sure that this is the Taraji that each and every one of you remember, right? Right? So again, who is that other lady? Now you can just say, oh, she lost weight, or she got a makeover, or she cut her hair, or something like that, right? But there's something more going on here. And she's even denying that anything happened, right? But I don't know what's going on, because again, this is the Taraji that I'm sure that most, if not all of you, remember. Again, I don't know what is going on, you all, with all of these celebrities. I don't know what's going on anymore. But you have to admit that something ain't right at all with how these celebrities have been looking recently. But maybe there's nothing to this. Maybe this is the same person and there is nothing to see here. But You always have to question everything. What do you think? Wake up.
During a recent ex-Space Congressman Eric Burleson shared what he claims David Grush told him about non-human intelligence. Grush told him that not only are the Nordic beings real and among us, but they're only a few hundred years more advanced than humanity. He says the Greys are operating remotely, like drones, on behalf of a separate race thousands of years more advanced than us, using only psionics to communicate or even operate their craft. He added that hybridization or crossbreeding may play a role in the relationship between these groups and humanity. If you're even kind of familiar with the lore behind the Galactic Federation, this is probably ringing a few bells.
This is the painting that scared the Vatican. They said that these paintings could stop the faithful from praying. These paintings represent the Holy Christian Trinity, 3 faces in one body. It was hated by the Vatican and the Church, and they banned it.
Most bizarre Mandela effects. Robber emoji. Doesn't exist. The Sprite bottle. The Sprite bottle was never green.
Here's your reminder that most of our oxygen comes from the ocean, not from trees. At least half and possibly up to 80% of the oxygen in our atmosphere is produced in the ocean, primarily by phytoplankton. They're microscopic single-celled organisms that float near the surface and photosynthesize just like plants do. Okay, but how do scientists know how much oxygen is coming from the ocean? With satellites. Phytoplankton contain chlorophyll, which is the same green pigment that makes plants green. NASA satellites like CERN, which launched in 1997, and the newer PACE mission, which launched in 2024, can detect chlorophyll concentrations in the ocean from space. When you combine satellite imagery with direct water sampling and atmospheric measurement, you can build a global estimate. The biggest contributor of oxygen is a species called Prochlorococcus. They're about half a micrometer wide, and there's an estimated 3 octillion of them in the ocean. Prochlorococcus is responsible for 20% of the oxygen in the atmosphere, and we didn't even know it existed until 1986. So remember that the ocean is not just breathtaking, it's breath-giving.
How many people do you know personally who have died suddenly and mysteriously in the past 5 years? I have personally known 8 actors, all of whom I have worked with and was close to. Heath Ledger, Chris Penn, David Carradine among them. I believe these actors were whacked, and I believe that many others, such as Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Mel Gibson, are being played to get at their money.
In that last clip, we see actor Randy Quaid speaking up against what he called the star whackers in Hollywood. Quite literally talks about 8 of his close celebrity friends passing away all in a short period of time. Around 2010, when this interview dropped, a lot of people were saying he was crazy or going off his rocker, and they didn't think there was any validity to his claims. Let's see what else Randy had to say.
Mercilessly slandering me and trying to kill my career.
Shortly after, Randy Quaid and
Chris Brown knew the truth about Harvey Levin of TMZ, and now everybody else is finding out. So Chris Brown called him the devil. This is crazy. Now we know that Harvey Levin has now been named as good friends with Jeffrey, going to the island, like on the list numerous times, like they're buddies. And you can see that in numerous emails. Chris Brown called it out, distancing himself and making it clear that everyone else should. And this is dating all the way back to 2013. People should have listened more. Now we know, based on, if you remember in October what happened to Charlie, and the TMZ crowd caught cheering about something so horrible. And the TMZ group, here's what's interesting, they look for the bad things happening to celebrities. They look to try to create this scandal. I mean, we saw what happened with Kobe, if you don't remember. I think that was, 2019, 2020. And so TMZ definitely has a reputation for being unethical, bad people with no soul. And it looks like that all comes from the top. Chris Brown calling it early, distancing himself. And now you start seeing a lot of Hollywood doing the same. And there's like a boycott TMZ thing, like people on TikTok.
That probably many, if not most, of these UFO sightings are in fact demons, and they can do things that we can't do, thus the speed and all sorts of things that human beings can't.
¡Grabar! Mírenla, esto es algo sobrenatural. ¿Ustedes habían llegado a ver esto? Nunca en la vida. Tienen que venir a ver esta especie de mata nativa. Está pegada en las entrañas de la tierra. Posiblemente sea una nueva especie de mata. Es patrimonio natural del medio ambiente, pero es que mírenla, señores. La hemos identificado. Yo, José Iber Ortiz, la encontré con mi familia.
Giant portal for the local principalities. Now, if you saw my last video, you know about the stones and what I mentioned about the rituals. Look what it's called. Transcending. Come on, guys. Really? If you can't, I don't even, do I have to explain this? Now, I actually came here before and I prayed standing here. I'm gonna show you. Right there. And you know what happened? My feet started burning when I saw, because I was praying against this thing. But look, watch this. Look at this. Look at these hands. Fallen ones.
The reason many of you are saying this guy is wrong, because one, you don't read your Bible, and two, you are blinded by the truth. I pray the Lord opens your eyes.
But just one thing I want to throw out here, and I want to cause a bit of mischief with the US government. I've just been somewhere in the United States where I know there is another portal, and I know the United States knows about it. And I was there just the other day. And guess what? It's got a big fence around it, lots of security signs. It's supposedly US Forest Service. But you know what? It's not. And it's supposedly ancient ruins of tribal art. And you know what? It's not. What's happening is that the United States is using the US Forest Service and claims of the protection of archaeological relics to keep secret from the public a portal on US soil. There, Megan.
¿Qué miércoles es eso, carajo? ¿Qué mierda, Dios mío? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso, Dios mío?
Earth's underground fungal network has been mapped, and it spans about 10% of the galaxy. Most plants have an underground network of some kind. These structures are called arbuscular mycorrhizal fungal networks, and they are made of hyphae, which are like little tiny roots. They work with most land plants, providing nitrogen and phosphorus through these tiny tubes in return for carbon. This is the real-time flow of carbon through the network, which is just so cool. Fungi's carbon intake is so high that it's estimated they took in 11% of all fossil fuel emissions in 2021. These little tubes are really hard to track, so the study was done with thousands of soil cores from every continent and 9 biomes, which is a region defined by its climate, landscape, animal life, etc. The study also used mathematical modeling and AI to predict the distribution. This is the sort of thing we want to see AI doing. The map revealed a few interesting things, like that for one, grasslands had the highest density. We tend to think of forests for a fungal network, but this shows how critical grassland really is, and that maybe we shouldn't mow over it so aggressively. The second is that agriculture is destroying the network. Since topsoil, the 2 to 12 inches at the top that contain the highest concentration of organic matter, has about 50% less than it would in the wild. Better agricultural practices like not tilling or incorporating crop diversification could have a huge impact on preserving these super cool networks.
A member of our government has told you and others, I guess, that there is a form of alien life and machinery which maybe brought this living creature here that interacted in some form with people?
Yeah, they have, and they've. It's pretty wild. I know, but I'm just telling you, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd take a lie to tell you. You want to put me on a polygraph, I'll take it. But this is what the guy told me. I mean, I've had a very high-ranking naval official describe. I've talked about this before. Underwater craft, something big as a football field, moving at over 200 miles an hour. And there's no fish in the ocean that would do that. We don't even have a sub that'll probably do 40 miles an hour under the. And the last thing he said before he left my office was, it was kind of weird because he didn't go out He went out the side door, which nobody ever uses. And he looked at me and pulled me up close. And he said, Tim, they're real. And that's the last thing he said to me. That'll be the title of my book, I guess. Matt Gaetz was involved in something here just recently. He was interviewed and he talked about this interbreeding thing with
we saw that. We saw that.
Well, that's a true story. That was a military personnel. I think that would be a good story to talk to him about if y'all can do that.
Now, all the stories that these elected officials seem to be telling everybody else, they should one day just go ahead and disclose that to the people, because those seem like the interesting topics. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. Hey, I'm glad you guys showed up and watch another one with me on this beautiful Saturday. If you haven't already, do me the biggest favor and hit that like button for me, hit that hype button and subscribe if you're not a part of the iTrack fam, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.